welcome back. I hope you're having a good day. It's my Jacaranda. This December they'll be 6 years old, so I guess that will make them 5.5 years old. This one spent a little more than a year in the ground, about a year and a half. I actually made the video, my first video with the tree I'm going to bring in next, and that video did so well, I hate to admit, that that's actually the reason why I dug this guy up, thinking I'd have another popular prospect for videos. Kind of glad I did. I actually have my Royal Poinciana planted in the same spot, and I think this one's looking pretty good. I mean, you know, for what it is, they're a popular bonsai subject just in that they get sold in the seed kits, but they really don't make the greatest, and I think, you know, this one's looking okay. Had I known, you know, what I know now, I definitely would have gotten a little bend in the trunk when it was really young. It's got some slight movement to it. In a minute, once I kind of downsize it a little bit, I'll give you a little closer look down there. Let's look at the other side. All right, and then just trying to take a closer look at things. It's got a huge chop scar here and here. I'm going to guess that that's when I originally dug it up, got it in a pot. And then, you know, does have a main branch going up this way. There's two coming off of that. This one has two good branches coming off of it. This one has a bunch of small ones coming off of it. And then, of course, this little one here. And then this one kind of split off a little bit lower there. I want to try to take out some of the interior growth, just where it's kind of growing into itself. And also leave some, you know, growing tips. These don't really have tips like a ficus does, but, you know, just some growth at the ends. While also, you know, just cleaning it up in general. This one, as I've been looking, I do want to keep it, but this piece here is just kind of growing into itself. There's a couple little twigs with some dye back there. I might hit that scar a little more. This one I was looking at outside. I was trying to make up my mind a lot of this stuff outside. This one has a lot of small branches off of it. This shoot, this one actually, you may notice when I bring the other one in, this one's actually not growing quite as well as that other one. I have this kind of in an accidental shady area. It used to be really sunny. I have a palm tree behind it that's growing a lot quicker. It's a fishtail palm tree that's growing a lot quicker than I ever thought it would. And that's creating kind of a little bit too much shade for this. So after I do this, I do plan on getting it into something a lot more sunny. You can see it's got about, actually I'm going to show you guys that. Now you guys probably can't really see it. But this is all lignified wood from last fall. And then there's just about maybe 2-3 inches of green there where it's actually some new growth from this year. And you'll see the other smaller one I have in a lot more sun, and it's got a lot more like this year's growth on it. But as I've been looking at this, I've decided I'm going to go down. I'm going to try to leave this. I want to try to make the tree wider but shorter. And in the process of that, I'm kind of going down below the last time I did any major work to it. And should give it a little less scarring to be healing up. Than it already had. Take that out too. I think these big chop scars is going to take off some of the loose bark around the end. One day I may get in there and try to carve something, but and if I can get enough growth on it, it should just heal itself. I'm going to try to do the same thing. Trying to leave this growth here, I think, and take. Do I want to take that whole thing out? I think I do want to take that whole piece off there. You know, I have a bucket. I have a bucket that I put these in here, and I usually try to empty it when I'm done with something, but the last time I actually did one of these, the next day I came in this room and I started immediately sneezing. And I noticed as soon as you get these cut off a tree, within 24 hours or so, it smells like super heavy perfume. So I'll have to remember to take that out today. And then let's see, maybe if I turn this sideways, you guys might get a better view there. So again, this one has the one of the sub branches that actually has two larger ones coming off of it. I'm trying to decide if I want to keep both the larger ones. There's chop scars here. I'm guessing that because it's in the center and coming off the thicker part of the trunk, that it wants to become the new leader, and I don't mind it becoming the new leader. I'm just trying to figure out a way to keep it a little less crowded, if you will, in the middle. Let's see if I take this one out. I know I'm going to take the interior ones off here either way. I almost never do any pruning unless I'm actually doing a video on these, just in the effort of trying to let them grow. I'm either going to clean up these two, or I'm going to take this whole branch off here. If you see them in nature, I have a lot of neighbors that have them, and when you see them in nature, they really do look like a candelabra. I've said a lot, where they just have an outer canopy and then everything kind of goes up. As a matter of fact, the ones in my neighborhood are blooming right now. And they really, I mean, they don't look anything like the pictures that some people put on Google that they claim they're Jacaranda trees, but they really look kind of spindly and sickly, but when they get all those purple blooms on there, they do look nice. Alright, so I think I'm going to keep it, so I am going to clean up these ends. Figuring now is a good time to do all this. I look back through some of my pictures. Like I said years ago, I feel like this would be stuff I'd remember, but now I have to look through pictures and videos to make sure that this thing does a lot of growing in June and July. So I'll kind of clean up all these scars and even some of the older scars, and it really should just kind of push a bunch. Hopefully it'll even get a little bit of back budding, leaving some of this growth in the slight hope that maybe even taking away some of this other, allowing that to push up, get lucky and get a bloom one day. But let's take a look at it now. At this side. Alright, and before I go get that other one in here, I'm going to address a couple things. First off, the weeds down here are just incredible. This is called, I think some people call it oxalis. I kind of call it the devil. And even right there, I do try to stay on top of it. And I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but I was trying to get that root and all, since I have it in here, so I do a little bit of a better job of getting the weeds out. And it just breaks right off on the top, and you can feel that there's more under there. In a couple more days, it'll just be back. And then also, I don't remember if I did a video when I originally dug it up or not, but this was a surface root. It was, I think the soil came up to about here, and I exposed it just a little bit more to try to get some nabari in there and everything, and I cut that one off. And you can see it kind of healing up a little bit, but it sticks out there kind of obviously. Get it a little bit closer to the trunk. and allow that to heal up a little bit more. And then this more frustrating stuff here, I'm going to try to see if maybe if I still just breaks off right at the top. Earlier this spring, this thing was covered with it. It was even like maybe 3 or 4 inches tall. And I actually went out and was able to get some of the roots up. If you can get the roots, it actually has huge tubers underground there. Not underground, but in the substrate. But evidently, just like before, I was not able to accomplish that right here. See, there was a little piece of one I got out. Alright, and every now and again I fail to mention what part of my plans are, but I was leaving the head of steam here, here, and here. These don't really have that long, I mean, you know, have that long piece with like no taper and everything like these do. And this one, I was gonna allow them to go for a bit. It would backbud some just simply because of all the other branches I just took off. And then eventually, as these became more leggy, just coming in and chopping them down and bringing it back down to size with everything else that may or may not backbud over the summer. But the more I looked at it, I do want to keep some of this branch here. I want to allow this one to continue to thicken up a little bit more and perhaps get as thick as this side. I know that this side will always have the leader, but I did decide that this may be overshadowing this side here some, and then also it is kind of coming towards the middle there where it'll wind up, you know, kind of crossing or whatever. I was going to let it go for a while just to see how it turned out, but I think I'm just going to eliminate it now. And there we go, a little bit simpler. Get this back out into a sunnier location. Alright, and here is the smaller one. Back, I do believe it was August, we had a hurricane that was heading this way. It didn't really hit us too hard, but I did a chop here, a chop here. It was quite a bit taller. It was repotted about 14 months ago, so it was repotted last March, and then basically I did nothing to it until then. I do believe I even remember in the repotting video when I tied the tree down using these ties down here to the lowest branch. They were kind of dying back a little as it was. This one's now died back all the way. This one actually has some growth on it, and another branch coming off of that. And let's take a look and what the other side looks like here. See that dead piece there? And what I'm going to do is everywhere where I chopped it there in that hurricane prep, it grew 2 branches, kind of a bad chop scar right on top. And I would like to push some more growth out here. I'd like to get some more growth into the outer branches than just here. You can see it's been growing mostly there. I'm assuming, you know, that part of my thought process here was letting that go simply because I had repotted it last year. So I'm going to take it to just below those 2 chop scars, and basically I'll pretty much expect the same thing to happen. I'll get 2 new growths off of those same spots there. Alright, and now obviously I can take a little bit of a closer look at it here. I kind of tested this a little bit, and you can see because this died back so much, this side's not really holding on to too much. I use these little screens to try to protect the branch. This side is. I was going to take them off completely. It's been in here a year now. It's plenty established. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave them in place. Eventually I could use them as some kind of a guy wire, or maybe even for the same purpose. So I'm just going to kind of pull them off to the side and just leave them there for now. Originally, I had thought about keeping those branches and using those guy wires to pull them down, but because I cut them, I don't really have anything to guy right now. Always so weird we call them guy wires instead of guide wires. Go ahead and get rid of some of these weeds. This is called spurge, I think. Not quite as bad as that other stuff. So I guess it's like the Devil Junior. They grow and reseed a lot, but they do seem to be a little bit easier to pull out weed or root and all. Just have to catch them before they start making seeds, because they sure do get everywhere. Now this one was even separating at the trunk a little bit. I'm sure this has died all the way back. Just gonna kind of cut it in half there, see if there's anything live looking, and there is not. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to get close to the trunk there. Yep. That was definitely dead all the way back to it. This one has the branch coming off here. Yeah, these are dead out there. And yeah, that is, I'm going to go ahead and go all the way back to that branch too. I can see actually right there, there's a little bit of a collar from where it was dying back to some live wood. Hopefully that'll just continue to straighten itself out. And then this branch, I'm not sure about this one either. Had a bigger branch kind of coming towards this other side here. And there is no life there yet. And so I think this one's going to go all the way back to the trunk too. Yep. Died right back to the trunk over there. This one is the one that I've actually kept longest in the videos, but it's the least exciting for now. This, this is the main part. This will back bud no problem. Should allow these two to kind of take off a little bit. Maybe bring a little more balance into the tree and not have it quite so powerful on this side. Hoping over time, some of this where you can see it got some quick growth 1 year, kind of almost outgrew itself. The stump does look much better on this side, so I'll probably continue to use that as the front. But maybe if I can expand the nabari a little bit, it'll kind of heal itself up on that side. You can see there's a root coming this way here. But now there's nothing to do with this guy, but just give it a little more time and sun and see what happens.